Welcome to the In Pursuit podcast, a law enforcement business resource where we'll explore different aspects of business entrepreneurship as seen through the eyes and experiences of active, current, former, or retired officers or their spouses. Now, here's your host, Noah Ballard.
All right, guys, thank you for tuning in to the first pilot episode of In Pursuit, a law enforcement business resource podcast. I'm super excited to be here. Next to me, I have George Chavez. He is the owner of Viciously Loyal. I'm Noah Ballard. I'm a real estate broker and a San Antonio area first responder. And we're really going to dive into what makes law enforcement officers tick when it comes to entrepreneurship, business practices, and we really want to give a solid resource for other law enforcement officers, whether current, active, retired, former, any of that, a source to where they can trust different business advice and experiences. So without further ado, George, go ahead and introduce yourself to me, to them, and let me know how long you've been in law enforcement, how long Viciously Loyal has been around, what is Viciously Loyal,
Absolutely. No, hey, so I've known Noah for quite a number of years. A little background, I actually was part of his integral part into the department. I was one of his instructors a few years back. How many years ago was that?
About 10 now.
About 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm a retired San Antonio PD police officer. Did 20 years in the department. Some people know, some people don't. I actually was a Selma police officer, a reserve officer for some period of time.
I did not know that.
And a lot of people don't. I keep that very secret.
I probably would too. I'm just kidding.
Big shout out to Selma PD.
Selma's great.
Selma's awesome. And a little before that, I was in the United States Marine Corps in the reserves as well. So service been a big part of my life. And a bunch of years into the department, I don't know really how or why I started doing it, but it just kind of exemplified who and what I am. Instead of yours truly or sincerely yours, I would always sign off Viciously Loyal George. And I've been doing that for a number of years, almost 12 years. And I contract train for a couple of different companies, Peacekeeper Products International, shout out to you.
There you go.
Armor Research Company, big shout out to them.
Shout out.
And so I was working for them, and instead of yours truly or sincerely yours, I would always sign off Viciously Loyal George. And I've been doing that for a long time, and a buddy of mine, Jim Boyd, lead instructor for Peacekeeper Products, he was fascinated by it, and he said, man, you should do something with that. You should trademark it. And I was like, and then what would I do with it? He's like, oh, man, you could do whatever. Do something with it. So about 6 years ago, I started the process of trademarking the phrase Viciously Loyal. And that was an ordeal unto itself. I actually had to get an attorney and do all that, and do the trademark, and of course register my icon, which stands for Faith Family Service. And even when I got the trademark and got the registration, I still didn't know what I was going to do with it.
Sure, yeah.
But I'm really into batons, and I'm really into knives, and I thought, man, I'll make batons and knives. Viciously Loyal batons, Viciously Loyal knives. Again, Jim Boyd, big shout out to him, said, why don't you just make some T-shirts and hats and see what happens? So I did. I went to an outdoor market, had 3 shirts and 1 hat, and people would come up and ask me, what does Viciously Loyal mean? And I said, it's a brand about service. It's a brand about commitment. Whatever you identify with, whatever you believe in, that's what you're viciously loyal to. And I would tell that little story, and man, in 2 hours, I was almost sold out of all my gear. Got it together again, went to the next outdoor event, same deal, same spiel, and again, within 2 to 3 hours, almost sold out. And I think it's the message. I think everybody can, it resonates. Service really does resonate. The Viciously Loyal, committed to, resonated. Started a website, had that created, and then, man, I'm telling you, the social media, the internet's amazing. It blows it up real quick. And through that, we actually have one of our best customers is out of Singapore. He's a MMA fighter. John, love you out there. I'll cue you on this podcast. He's our first international client.
Oh, sweet.
And he's a good dude. He trains heavily in martial arts. And then so that happened, and through all this social media, an investor saw our name and asked me if I owned the phrase Viciously Loyal and if I owned the icon, which I did, and we grabbed an investor about 6 months ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's sweet. I've purchased lots of Viciously Loyal stuff from you guys. Let me turn down your gain.
Absolutely.
And I love the brand. And we're going to talk about that kind of a little bit later, how branding is important and
Absolutely.
what you guys are working on. But Viciously Loyal for me, there's tons of different clothing companies out there.
Yeah.
But there's also tons of different messages, and I feel like Viciously Loyal is, it's very unique, and it serves a purpose, and that's why people can resonate very well with it.
Absolutely. We talk about this, and believe me, I will not. I love all my veteran-owned, all my police-owned brands. But somebody was actually a firefighter who said he's telling his wife about Viciously Loyal, and he starts to begin to tell her the story, and she's like, actually, there's no explanation needed. It's in the phrase, Viciously Loyal. And she knew right away it was about service. She knew right away it was about commitment to something. And so that's where it all comes from. And if you know me, see me, I love all my brothers and sisters out there in service. I may not wear it on my sleeve. I like to have a good time. I'm not maybe a traditional oorah brand or go get 'em, kill, kill, kill.
Yeah.
My message has been consistent from the very beginning, and it's about service. It's not about the gun. It's not about I'm Captain Kickass. It's service.
It's clean and classy.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Clean and classy. It explains itself.
As my mom would say, because her first language was Spanish, con class. Do it with class, mijo.
Well, I don't speak Spanish, so no hablas.
No, that's my.
But I can kind of imagine what that means.
Yeah. With class.
Yeah.
With class.
So when I'm at work, I just definitely call for a Spanish speaker every single time.
I wouldn't guess that. I wouldn't.
Yeah. Right. Hey man, I tried.
No.
I tried. But
that's funny.
Yeah, you remember Michaela Rabago, my classmate?
I do.
We rolled
How's
around.
How's she doing?
She's good. She's in homicide now.
What?
We, we broke out on South.
Yeah.
And South is very Hispanic
Yep.
and very
Hi,
Spanish, very Spanish predominant, right?
Yeah.
So she was definitely my running partner, my running buddy, because
Yeah, absolutely.
no habla at all.
No, man, you got to use your resources, and man, I tell you what, man, and I'm sure we'll get to that later, but police work, being in the Marine Corps, all those things, and I'm sure we're going to tie that in, led to this company, led to this business. Just, like you do, we're unwavering. When we see a problem, it really isn't a problem for us. We know what we need to get to. We fix it. We're problem solvers, totally unequivocally problem solvers. I hear it all the time from my brothers and sisters. What would I do if I wasn't a police officer? It's like, I can lay it down for you. Many things. First of all, the majority of people out there know that we are trustworthy. Mm-hmm. We are people that get the job done, and we are trustworthy, people of our word. And so that in and of itself is a commodity. But just mission accomplishment.
Yeah.
Right? We know how to do it. So anyway, that's my big touch on that.
Talking about kind of a problem, solving a problem, that's kind of one of the whole reasons why I started this podcast. Maybe it's not really a said problem, but I've kind of come to realize through being in law enforcement that whether it's a current, active, former, retired law enforcement, or even law enforcement spouse, I'd say a good 75, maybe even 80+% of the people I know at some point start a business or at least talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
And, being in law enforcement, trust is very big to us, being able to rely on people. And you see it all the time. There's all kinds of different places and avenues that as cops we go to for information and advice over the normal public. And so the whole kind of backing behind this, I guess there's really two main reasons I wanted to do this podcast was, one, I wanted to learn about different businesses, business aspects, and two, I wanted to provide a resource to other law enforcement, people, family, all that stuff, blue family essentially, to where they could learn about different businesses, and not even just how to do their own business, but different aspects of business, from a source they can trust, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted you as number one because everybody knows you as a trustworthy guy.
Wow.
And so that's what this whole podcast is for. And that's kind of the problem that I saw that I wanted to fix, or at least help.
No, that's humbling. Well, thank you. That was very complimentary. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, man. I say to all my brothers and sisters out there, because I hear it all the time. I mean, I get hit up now. I was contacted. I don't want to disparage the department or any police work, but I've been contacted by many people in these last several months since I've been retired of how did you do it? What can I do? What can I have? And I always say this: if you have a plan B or thinking about that plan B, the time not to come to it is at your is that your 25th year?
Yeah.
Is that, I'm just going to retire next month? That you should be thinking about it, right? You obviously had that bug and you started thinking about what you do and you put it in play. A lot of our brothers and sisters are in real estate. It's great. It's a great avenue, but there's so much out there. And if you're going to do it, start thinking about it now. If it's crossed your mind, there is life outside of the police department. There is life outside the badge. It's been wonderful. I'm so glad. I'm so proud of my service. Right? I always say this: no one can take it away from me.
Yeah.
When I breathe my last breath, I'm never going to have to worry. Did my life have meaning? Did my life have purpose?
Yeah.
I know it. But there's also providing long term for the family, and I know that our retirement is great. It's good. But sometimes when I discuss numbers with people, and I mean financial numbers, it's amazing to me what they think is going to support them forever.
I had an old timer who's about to he just retired. He's working for another small department, a school department, and he was coming in talking to me. We were eating breakfast, and he stopped by, and he's like, "Oh, you remember me? Yeah, I remember you." And one of the things that test on it. There we go. Still.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're still working. He was telling me, he's like, "Oh, the pension's talking about giving us an additional check, right? Like an approving, 13th check.
13 check.
Like it was a big deal." And I was like, "Dang, man!" Like,
yes. And again, so I'm very cautious about this because I've said this, and sometimes people take it the wrong way. Look, the pension. I'm very happy for my 20-year service, and it's not for the pension. Right. It's for my 20 years of service, and I'm happy to get that residual income, but when I talk about what I make in the private sector versus here, and what people will pay you for in the private sector, or what your drive will get you out there, it's amazing. Now I will say, and we discussed this before we started this, I have heard a couple of my brothers and sisters who do the same kind of format for podcasts say anybody can do it, and I'm like, that's where I actually say no. Yeah, I think that actually most of them should probably stay. Punch the clock, do that 25, do that 30 years. However, there are certain people who have that drive, have that knowledge, have that will to do something outside the department, man. And if you feel that, and if that's gnawing at you, contact Noah Ballard. Yeah. Contact others. Find out, what do I do? Step one, because guys, that's what I did. I was training for 3 other companies, working for very I would say wealthy. I would say they're millionaires, very well-to-do people. And I would just pick in their brain, figuring out what did they do. As I talk to them, I figure out they're no smarter than you and I. What they are is hyper-focused and driven. Sure. And then I started figuring out, well, wait a minute, how can I parlay that into something for me? Right. And kind of that's where Viciously Loyal came from. Once I trademarked and started figuring out what can I do, man, I started going down that avenue. And then little by little, I asked, okay, what do I do now? George, do this. And I did it. Right, where those people, just tell me and I'll do it. Tell me, okay, what now? And I did it. I had some great business mentors, Tim Caulfield, Jim Boyd, Phil Tanzini, David Nolan, are people that I worked for and with, and they're not hoarding the knowledge. You just had to go to them. Right. And I asked, I said, hey, what do I do? Here, George, here's my trademark attorney. Contact them. I did it. Hey, man, a trademark. What now? Hey, George, here's another marketing guy that Kevin LaRue, by the way, my only one marketing team who developed this icon, Viciously Loyal. Thanks, Kevin. Nice. And but anyway, I just would ask, and once they would lay down this pathway, I would just, or here's the door to walk through, I'd walk through it. And I guess that's the biggest thing. Like we can tell our brothers and sisters. Mentorship, right? Yeah. Absolutely. Here's my concept. Here's my idea. Here's what I do. Okay, do this. And that's on the individual to walk through that door and do the next thing. And before I knew it, I was at a place where, man, I think I can go ahead and retire. I think I can go ahead and just do this business. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, there's nothing like having something on your own. Yeah. I don't know how
working
else to
for yourself is amazing. I mean, it frees you up it gives you so many, I mean, I have to kind of dial back, but it gives you a sense of like, I'm free. I'm free. I work for myself in a sense, or at least additionally. Kind of talking about drive and problem fixing. Mm-hmm. Entrepreneurship, starting your own business solves some type of problem, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be some crazy problem of like, okay, this is a major problem that no one's figured out an issue for. There's problems that need to be solved, and whether that's starting a great clips, what's the word? I can't even think of it right now. Franchise, a Great Clips franchise.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that people need haircuts, right?
Yep.
And I'm talking about haircuts and I'm bald.
No one can see. You look
Yeah,
good.
okay,
It's good. I see a little bit like.
I got
right
peach
in
fuzz.
there.
I got peach fuzz. They always say, the phrase, I have a face for
I'm
radio.
50 and I still got
Yeah,
hair.
it must be nice. You know the phrase, I have a face for radio? I have a hairline for radio.
Oh, you do? No,
Yeah,
it's
hairline
good.
for radio.
No, it's way back there.
Yeah, it's far away. Just like me
That's
in my
messed up.
retirement.
I'm never coming back on the show. No, man. Fill the void, see an issue, see a need, and plug in.
Yeah.
And it can be as simply as simple. And I live in Cibolo, right? And I see lots of little spots that, man, this is what needs to be right there. Whether it's a coffee shop or whatever, or a little boutique and whatever. And I tell you
Sure.
what, man. Like I said, I'm so grateful for my service. I always fall back on that. Sometimes people mishear what I'm saying. I'm so proud that I served in the United States Marine Corps. I am so proud that I was a San Antonio police officer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and Selma.
Selma.
I'm so proud.
For 6 months.
For 6 months, I'm so proud. But I really am proud of our service. But I'm just saying that a lot of us don't think we could do anything else, or
Yeah.
what else I'm going to do,
Get
or
sucked in.
I've got this pension, I cannot leave it. I don't know, man. I will tell you that there's a world out there that if you have the drive and the will, you can achieve great things.
Yeah.
But I will also say, and this was given to me by another buddy of mine, there are lots of wantrepreneurs and very few entrepreneurs, right?
Nice.
They want it.
I like
right?
it.
I want to do this, but they don't understand the grind, right?
Yeah.
This morning, I'm up at 4:55 this morning.
Yeah.
Because that's what time I have to grab my workout. So I grab my workout so I can be on 3 Zoom calls before I came here.
Right.
So I can go over inventory before I came here. So I can be on the phone with other people who are driving the business and moving. So if you think that it's a lot of people, oh man, I want to do what you do, George. I want to own this business, but I hold back. I say nothing, but I will say this to you. Most of those people I talk to are complete wantrepreneurs.
Yeah.
They think it's a great thing. Then try it, because
Do it.
It is a grind.
Yeah.
Come, tell me where you're at, and I'll point the next door to you. And if you don't walk through it, that's on you. And you're a wantrepreneur. I immediately identify them. I'll try to connect with people 2 or 3 weeks after because they've come ask me to advice, and I'll follow back up. I do it on purpose.
Right.
Hey man, where you at? Oh yeah, I didn't get to it. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
No, I get you.
Well then you didn't want it. You're just a wantrepreneur.
I probably have more people ask me about getting their real estate license than I have actually asking about buying or selling a house.
Exactly, right?
And it's no knock on them. I mean, it's a great career field.
Yes.
I love it and enjoy it. But I'd say out of those people that ask me about it, probably 10-15% actually follow through. You know.
What is that?
Yeah, and I mean it that's great because those 10 or 15% are awesome. They're producers,
Yeah.
But that's great. So 2 things that I wanted to hit on. We kind of talked. Well, let me back up. So
Sure.
we were talking about police. We're problem solvers. We're very problem oriented.
Absolutely.
We see an issue, we fix it, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a disturbance, we fix that issue. Whether we take someone to jail, we make somebody leave.
Use of force. I'm kidding.
Use of force.
Whatever
yeah.
that is.
Well, we
whatever
can't do
it
that
is.
anymore. I don't know. What's the use of force?
A harsh email,
Yeah.
whatever.
And-
Admonish them.
Yeah, exactly.
Just kidding.
I never get any use of force. That never happens. But just like out there on patrol, when we're fixing, or not even patrol, but we're just fixing problems. We're fixing problems through business, right?
Yes.
So you can stop me if I'm wrong. I kind of thought about it yesterday, and I said, what problem is Viciously Loyal fixing, right? And I think, and you can kind of change this, or you can just flat out tell me like, nope, that's completely wrong.
Sure.
But I think Viciously Loyal solves the problem of expression through branding and resonation. So your branding and the resonation with your brand fixes the problem of people not being able to express themselves about faith and service.
There you go. It was funny when we did the icon and I asked for it to express faith, family, service. And it doesn't matter who, some other marketing entity said, do you want to change what that stands for, your icons? And it just took me aback. I said, what do you mean? And they gave out some different of what they thought. I said, no, that's not what it stands for.
Yeah.
It literally stands for faith, family, service. And I can go on and on about this. When I look at even some of our generation, younger, and I'm
Whoa,
tired
you
of
just
it.
lumped me into your generation,
I did.
bro.
But yeah, I'm sorry. You're like
I'm 31.
Oh my God, you're not even part of my generation. You're part.
I
of
mean,
the
no,
product.
that's cool. I'd rather be in your generation right now. Like,
Well,
just take it.
I was trying to bring you in. I would say millennials sometimes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think what they have missed, and it's your parents, it's your
Yeah.
fault. Life is about you. Life is about your voice. We need about the individual. It's an overemphasis on the individual.
Right.
And I've always said, I am so happy to my father, God rest his soul, to my mother. They didn't teach us that. I came from a big family, and your life is about serving the family, serving the community, your neighborhood, and serving your country. And I didn't know there was anything else besides service.
Sure.
And my heart is full for it. So, parents, if you're listening and you're telling Johnny and Janie that life's all about them and their wants and their needs and their satisfaction, then man, that's a disservice. So through my company and through my brand, and I've always pushed this, you don't have to be in service in a uniform, stand on yellow footprints and join the military. But my goodness, I have benefited. It's fed my soul. Service has fed my soul. So through my brand, through my company, I constantly preach service. Service to something greater than yourself. I mean, I think you've probably heard this a couple times from me, right?
Yeah.
Service to something greater than yourself. There's nothing like it. And that's through my brand. That's what I push out. Serve. Serve in some capacity. This is so funny. A friend of mine, Wiley, who I was talking to before this podcast, I mean, it's something as simple as if you're walking your dog in the neighborhood and you see trash and you see debris on the street, do you pick it up? Or are you walking right over it?
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, just serve. Life really isn't meant to be all about you. And I always crack up, living my best life. I said, oh my goodness, you are silly. In my opinion, right? I think
Live, life, love, right?
Yeah, it's just about me and my habit and my journey. And I'm like, oh,
yeah, that's
going to get pretty shallow pretty quick. And they don't know it now because in their 20s,
it's
in their
great
30s,
when you start out.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You talk to these young individuals, and I was one too. And man, I was in here, I was doing this, I ran with the bulls, I did this, and it's all about their experiences. And that's what society's told them, your experiences. And I'm like, oof, that's a pretty shallow pool to be in when you're 50, 60, 70 years old. And you're like, I went here. Did you serve anybody?
Yeah.
Did you benefit society? Did you benefit mankind? No. But I once, cliff jumped off of what? Okay, that's great.
Right.
Service, right?
Yeah. No,
anyway, I could go on and on.
I know. Well, I mean, that's what you stand for, right?
Yeah.
So you're spilling your life out there.
Serve.
Yeah.
Serve.
Do it.
And
George said.
Yeah, George said. And again, I say it all the time. A lot of my friends, my gents, my people I hang out with are all first responders or military. And they told me that when I was in the academy, and they told me that when I was in the Marine Corps. That's going to happen. Guess what? It does. But I will say to everybody out there, you do not have to have worn a uniform. You don't have to have stood on yellow footprints and raise your hand to be in service. But my goodness, man, you can go online and find something you're interested in and serve. That's what you're viciously loyal to. That's what you're committed to. If you're an educator, you're committed to that. If you're conservation, then you're committed to that. But find something and serve that cause.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean get on and send a quick message on Facebook or Twitter. You didn't serve. You just wrote a couple sentences. That's not service. Yeah.
Awesome.
Anyway.
No, great. It's great. So there's two quick things I want to talk about as far as law enforcement translating to business. Mm-hmm. And then lastly, I just want to end with talking about specifics about the clothing industry.
Sure.
Because I don't know anything about it, right? And
yeah.
there's a lot to it. And we'll just touch base on some general stuff. But the first two things are really what I want to talk about. And it might be a little thinker for you. Maybe it's not. So, remember, right? You were my instructor in the academy. Mm-hmm. I still don't lean on walls because of
it's laziness.
Yeah, exactly.
Leaning on walls is lazy. Hands in pockets, laziness. Okay, go ahead.
Two things that we still make fun of you for, or we all remember, are the two phrases, right? The first one is addition through subtraction.
Check.
Right. And the second one is woefully unprepared, being woefully unprepared. Mm-hmm. So you remember anytime addition through subtraction, anytime a cadet ended up quitting.
Check.
Well, in my class, that's a case getting fired.
Yep.
Twice. Or I don't remember. But anyways, you'd always come in and you'd just say addition through subtraction.
Check.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that to me kind of resonates with, like, in business, sometimes some negative things happen, right?
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
but you're growing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So can you kind of talk about just that? If something comes to mind?
Sure. But there's a lot that comes to mind, but I'm going to be careful,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I will say that there has been a little personal strife in my life, and I'm moving on. But when I used to say addition through subtraction, you got to remember it was a cadet class. And how big was yours coming in?
It was like 55.
55 coming in. How many did you graduate?
30 something.
30 something.
Yeah.
Let's do the math there, right?
Yeah.
55 came in, 31, whatever, 32 graduated. And I would always say in any group, any environment, business included, that sometimes the loss of something or an individual is not a loss. Truly, it's addition. We've subtracted somebody or something, but yet it made us stronger.
Yeah.
I've seen some of the smallest groups. My group is very small. My company's, but we're a strong group.
Sure.
And we are stronger than other groups that are bigger than us. I mean, I'm pushing. I got an investment in the time of COVID. I'm pushing my brand and gaining in the time of COVID. And if I had many more bodies or many other people involved, maybe it wouldn't have been there.
Sure, yeah.
But I would say, I mean, you look at some of the teams. You have people who are just a part of it, but they're not driving it forward.
Yeah, they're not viciously loyal.
They're not viciously loyal.
Yeah.
And when you get rid of those people, you watch. And I'm a true example of that. You know,
Yeah.
that I've subtracted, but
Yeah.
with the company is just pushing forward, pushing strong, and man, we're doing great things. So that's what I've always meant when I've seen it in training, when I've seen it in the Marine Corps, when I've seen it in the police department. You can put together a big tactical team made up of 50, 60 guys, but sometimes the team made up of 10 to 12 to 13, 15 guys,
Yeah.
guys and gals, brothers and sisters who are out there doing it. Man, that's a stronger team.
Mhm.
And addition through subtraction. So always said, you never want to belong to anything where everybody's welcome. And I know that's not a popular sentiment. I know everybody's welcome. Nope.
Yeah,
If
not
you want
true.
to achieve, not true. It's the people who are committed, who believe in and they're true believers in what they are doing. And those true believers, they'll launch that. Whatever the mission is, they've all bought in and they're going. And that's why I preach so hard to the cadet classes. Man, when somebody gets washed out or leaves, they can't take it. You shouldn't feel. You're empowered.
Sure. Yeah.
That's dead weight.
You're stronger.
We're stronger for it. So that's why it's addition through subtraction.
Nice.
We're stronger.
Awesome.
Yeah. What was the other phrase? I'm sorry.
Woefully
Woefully
you come
unprepared.
in and you'd say, look at it, it's like, you are woefully unprepared. Being woefully unprepared, that was one of the phrases that you, I don't know if you coined it, but it was given to us through the academy.
Yeah.
And we're talking about how that translates into starting or running your own business.
Well, I guess I'll just talk to it in terms of what I did. And again, it's not every business is exactly the same, but preparedness, right? That was taught to me at an early age.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you're going to do, right? If you're going out for the day, my dad would always say, it would crack him up or whatever. My brothers or my mom would say, I wonder if I should bring a jacket. And my father would say, if you have to ask that question, bring the jacket, right?
That's funny.
Whatever it is. I wonder if
Yeah.
we're going to be able to eat lunch today. Well, then you probably pack a sandwich, right? And that stuck with me a lot.
Yeah,
so
sure.
when I go do anything, right, I got water in my truck. I've got a couple of granola bars. I'm ready for the day, whatever it might take me in a different direction. When I did this company, before I sold any shirt, did anything, I trademarked the phrase. I registered the icon. I got the domain site, and I prepared myself for what was coming. So, do your research for whatever company or whatever your business you're going to go into,
Mm-hmm.
and be prepared for what it has, and be prepared for what you're going to do. And I say this, like I think on my time, I think what confuses people is that people see me, they're going to see me in this podcast or see me wherever and say, oh man, it must be great to be so free. How many times have you seen me check my phone when we're doing this, right?
Yeah.
I'm not free.
Right.
I have worked harder, and no offense, at this job, at this career, viciously loyal, than I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, I agree.
It lives and dies by me. So I push it forward. And so I guess my phrase, woefully unprepared, is, man, know what you're stepping into, get yourself ready, do all that pre-work before you step out. And that goes back to what would I do, right? And then once you figure that out, start that pre-planning. If you got 20 years on and your goal is to retire at 25, then man, you need to start thinking about it already. 3 to 5 years out is when you start to think about what your plan B is. You shouldn't be thinking about plan B 3 to 4 months out when you're going to retire, because that's you're woefully unprepared.
There you go.
Woefully unprepared for what this has.
Woefully unprepared.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I see it all the time, and I mean, I've seen other people who don't understand how I got funded, how this phrase why is it resonating, and I'm not going to say the name of the company, but there was a young man in a CrossFit, and he was going to launch his CrossFit brand. And I'm not going to say the name of it. I'm going to make it up. It was like CrossFit Extreme to the max, whatever it was. It was a bunch of words.
I know that CrossFit.
You know that? I know that brand. I'm wearing it. No, but he was a CrossFit guy, and he threw a brand together with a lot of cool phrases, and it was just thrown together. And I'm listening to him and his dad, and I was like, that's interesting. And the dad said, yeah, but it can't seem to catch anything, and we're trying to get funding, can't do it. I said, well, what does it come from? Oh, you hear it, strong, CrossFit, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it doesn't resonate with me. I mean, your son's 26 years old, and he can do CrossFit. Good for him. What's his message? He pulls up his shirt and shows his abs. Great. When I was 26, I had them too.
Must be nice.
Must be nice, right? Yeah, even at 50 I have, but I don't want to embarrass you.
Okay, but don't do that.
It's a thing.
Yeah,
I'm single.
I'd have to bleep that out. Just put like
a black dot over it. But I say this, a lot of cool words. But it doesn't speak to anything. And I again reiterated, my brand's about service. Viciously what you're committed to. The dad got it. The son was just kind of head cocked, like looking at
loyalty.
Loyalty? What?
That makes no sense.
But anyway, that man texted me like 2 weeks later and says, I understood what you were saying, and I said there's no journey behind your son.
Yeah.
He's 26 years old and can work out. Good for him. CrossFit Extreme Max to the 10th power. It just, what's the meaning? I'm not sure.
He wasn't ready. He wasn't prepared to put that into that business.
Messaging. Because right now people do want to hear what it is. I mean, my family, geez, we are starting to go back. My sister's helping me also with my family history. We think over 200 years of service. My family was one of the original 20 families to settle here in San Antonio.
Oh, that's
My
cool.
grandfather was born at the San Jose Mission in the granary room.
Really?
We're steeped in service for over 200 years, whether it was in the church, in the fire, the police department, the military. We've always served, and that's a beautiful lineage that I try to pass to my children. Please serve.
Yeah.
It'll feed your soul and benefit your fellow man. And like I said,
totally agree.
Oh yeah, and like I said, man, God forbid, I go in my last breath. I'm never going to have to worry. Did my life have meaning? Did my life have purpose? Serve, serve, serve.
Sweet. Lastly, just to end, I wanted to talk about just some aspects of the clothing business, right?
Sure.
There's a lot of different things that we don't know. So. Or at least I don't know. And so I just really wanted to learn some about it. So when we're talking about the clothing industry, how important is the supply chain with your business?
It's killing me. Well, I'll give you an example, right? Something that was taking a 10 to 14 day turnaround is now taking me 30 plus days.
Jeez.
It's now taking me 6, sometimes 7 weeks to turn around.
Yeah.
So this whole supply chain, it's very real, and it's affecting all of us. Just, I guess, plan accordingly, right? Like we were going to kick off, we thought about some marketing campaigns, but we realized we can't market. We don't have anything. And you're right, don't put the cart before the horse, right?
Sure.
And we have some things we have to put on hold. And through other personal strife that I've gone through, we've had to put some things on hold. So, but the supply chain is very, very real. So, like I said, things that we've turned around in days is taking several weeks. So it's all very real. And so to find those shirts, to get that certain color. I mean, I remember we did an order a few weeks back or several weeks back, and they're like, yeah, we have like all the 3Xs you need, all the 2Xs you need, and we have 5 larges. I'm like,
nice.
I'm like, that's no, I can't. That doesn't no.
So as far as like the shirts and whatnot, how are they, the logos and all the graphics and stuff? Like obviously you have some type of graphic designer or
Absolutely.
whatnot, but how are they printed? I guess if that's the term.
Yeah, screen printing, obviously, we do outsource, and of course we've been there for the process, but all that is screen printed, and we do, of course, embroidery. Embroidery cost is more, right? More expensive. Yeah. I mean, I look at your shirt, I can't help it now, and look at colors, right?
Yeah.
And the more colors you have on there, like a very simple, plain white on blue, you're looking at, if it's a t-shirt, you're looking at what, $6, maybe $7 a shirt.
Yeah.
The more colors you add, you're talking an upcharge. It doesn't matter how big the print is. If you're talking front, back on your shoulder, automatically you're talking about different spaces. They got to turn the shirt. That increases the price. Like people would say, "Oh, it's just a little mark." It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's not. They're not paying by what they're taking out. They're paying because somebody has to manipulate it, move it, and put it at a different location. So every location you're getting to is going to cost you money. Right, and people always say, "Oh, it's like I used on some of my shirts. I do the back of my icon on the back of the yoke of the neck," thinking, "Oh, I want the whole run with my icon on the back yoke of the neck." Great, that increased for that short order like $500 just having every shirt done that way.
Yeah,
because I'm taking up real estate.
I really didn't think that. I just thought it was like the cost of the logo.
No,
right? So it's actually the positioning on the shirt.
Absolutely, all this costs you money.
Huh.
Right? Yeah, front, back, side shirts, everything else.
I guess that's kind of like, I remember reading sometime, I think I Googled it because I had nothing else better to do, but I was like, why are kids' clothing the same price as adult clothing if it's less material? And the answer was because it's the same amount of work to make that piece of clothing.
That individual has to take it and move it.
Yeah.
Take it and move it.
I was trying to get around the system so I could stop paying so much for clothing.
They're little people.
Yeah, like literally, I was like, it was like a 1-year-old's like pair of jeans and t-shirts, the same price as mine, and I'm like,
yeah,
okay. I was trying to find some type of conspiracy theory.
I'm sure it's the work that goes into it, and we struggle like anybody else, man. We're trying to figure it out. We're trying to figure out the supply chain.
Yeah.
And how do we lessen our cost? And that's the thing. You're always looking to cut a cost. But I don't want to do it on the material. I want to make the best material possible. I see some brands, man, that I see some of those shirts. I'm like, oof. That's funny.
That brings me to like talking about material. What kind of material, I guess, could you kind of outline like what's kind of the lowest material to like the best?
Well, I will say this, right? Depending, right? We don't really want to make anything 100%. Nothing against cotton.
Yeah.
But we like those poly blends, right?
Okay.
65-30.
Is it stretchy a little bit?
It's a little bit. Now you're talking about moisture wicking, which really gets in the poly blends, and we like those. But those tri blends are really popular now. They're kind of light, but they still kind of give. They're great for working out.
Yes.
Of course, it costs more, right? Instead of a shirt you want for $20, you're probably paying $28 to $30 for that, right?
So tri-blend is cotton, poly, and something else?
It depends on what material it is.
Okay.
It depends, and you could throw another blend in there, and it's a tri-blend. They call it tri-blends.
Gotcha.
And they fit great. They fit nice, and they're a little airy, and especially in this part of the region, that's what we want, right? Something that can breathe, and we look for it, right? And I will say this is funny. I hear this a lot. Well, I wear Adidas because I like the way it fits, and I always kind of go, that's not unique. It's the same as everybody else.
Yeah.
But now it just comes down to branding. So to all you people who think that you're something proprietary about what Nike's making Adidas and Puma, it's not. It's just it's their brand. You're buying their brand.
Yeah, that's what they say. Is like Nike is like one of the best branding companies out there because they know how to brand.
Man, and
just do it.
And we can just leave it there. I mean, and I'm not going to talk about some of the controversy they've been in.
Sure.
And because that'd be fool to do that. But I will say that they've seemed to weather the storm of a lot of negativity thrown in their direction, and they just keep doing
fine,
it. They're still Nike.
Well, it's like Warren Buffett always talks about Coca-Cola, right? Yeah. And like why it's one of the best companies out there because of their branding. It's not necessarily their products.
No.
It's their branding. Everybody knows what a Coke is. Coke, people in different parts of America can call Coke something and mean something completely different.
I still do it, right? Hey, just give me a Coke.
Yeah.
And
I don't care if it's something else.
Absolutely. And so, Nike, when it comes to clothing, they've really, they've done well. And that's all I can say, whether you agree with what they've done or not what they've done. And I'm not talking about endorsing an athlete, as what I'm talking about is some of their practices and how they produced and where they produced. But all these caring millennials, they don't seem to care. They don't care where it's produced. They like Nike.
shirt sizing. So I haven't quite figured out how to ask this question, but
I'm a medium.
yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That's exactly what I was
What you're
thinking.
worrying about? I know. It's okay.
I've been eyeballing you the whole time. Different shirt brands seem to be different
That's true.
fits.
Yeah.
Is there like, I guess, is there a different, is there a type of fit that work? Like, do you have like an athletic fit? Do you have, like, or do you, is
Right.
there one
Yeah.
fit that you guys use that you prefer?
Right now we do pretty much, and we've done it this way for a while. Now we're splitting. We had done unisex for such a long time.
Okay.
It didn't matter the sizing. It's kind of general. Everything fit. When you do that, everything fits a little bit snugger because you're doing, unisex.
Right.
But now that we're completely splitting male and female clothing, it's going to be more directed to what a female wears as opposed to a male
Sure.
wears. And I've got some great mentorship through that. Greg Brady from Clinch Gear is really helping us out with that. He's been in the business 10 years. And it's so funny how your friendships, being honest and being forthright and being somebody that, I don't know, that's just trustworthy has helped me develop these relationships. Here's a guy who has another company, another business, who I have MMA fighters. He has MMA fighters. I mean, that's a big brand for them. But he's been very helpful to me, and he's been mentoring me along this process. So
That's cool.
Big shout out to Greg Brady and Clinch Gear.
Greg.
Yep, absolutely.
Last thing. If somebody wants to start their own brand, right, and not necessarily like being a competitor to you, but what's really the first one or two steps? Like what do you do? Where
Sure.
do you go? Who do you talk to?
Sure, I'll just tell you what I did. Right, like I said, mine came from a signature. So one of the very first things I did was grab the domain name. And I bought Viciously Loyal for, like, I don't know, $25, $30. That's what I bought Viciously Loyal for. And I grabbed the domain name, and I grabbed the story behind it, and I grabbed all the times I'd signed off Viciously Loyal, and then started the trademark process, and then started the registration of the icon. So basically what you're going to be putting a lot of money into is attorneys and to trademark or whatever that is. That's how I did it. And then, of course, unless you have your own print shop, you're going to outsource. And there are lots of people out there now who are getting into the fulfillment side of the business because they understand it's brands and people are out there doing it. So, I mean, if we're talking about Noah Ballard gear, Noah Ballard would simply say, okay, here's my design, here's what I do, and go find a complete fulfillment center.
You start leveraging out rather than build your own print shop and start doing that.
And you can do that. And once you gain enough, there's a lot of companies that then you can have your own print shop. Will we do that? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know, right? I mean, do I want to be the kind of guy who's working the print shop floor? Not really.
Yeah.
I want to keep pushing the message. I want to keep out there.
You want to be out there.
I want to be out there talking to people about service. This company was a vehicle for service.
Yeah.
That's all it's been. I mean, I want to preach service because I think that's what the society thinks everyone's missing. I'm tired of the emphasis on self, the individual, your voice, what matters to you, living your best life. Oh, that's tough, man. That's going to get very shallow very quick, but I'll get off that.
Yeah. No, I
So
gotcha.
anyway, that's it. That's what I would say is if you have a name, go to the domain and get the domain name.
Okay.
If you have a concept on one athletic gear, it's all out there. You can get wholesalers and do it. So I please, I welcome anybody to contact me, call me. My information's out there, Viciously Loyal. If you have an idea for a clothing company, contact me. I've already been contacted a couple times this year alone. And I'm actually going to be collaborating with 2 different companies because
cool.
I love what they're doing. I love what they're about. And I'm walking them through this process.
What's the hardest or one of the hardest things about running a clothing line or clothing company?
The logistics of it all, right? We trying to find out what to order. It's out. We don't have it. And that's something we ran into. Like I thought, well, we'll get something that's similar or like it. Guess what? That throws everything off. Now, instead of creating that tri-blend, we have a cotton shirt for you. Well, no, I don't want to do cotton shirts, right? And people don't like it. People are very loyal to that. Also, marketing, right? And that's where we were blessed. I mean, we were contacted. I didn't seek investment. Investors sought us. And that's when I knew, I think I have something.
Yeah.
We never went out for investment. I never did. They reached out to us, and it's been a great been a great partnership, and I can't fully say who's behind us just yet, but it's.
I know.
Yeah, you know, you do know, and it's very exciting, and all from a message.
I'm just
of,
kidding. I don't know. He didn't tell me, but
not yet. But I'm super excited, and like I said, but here's the cool thing about what you're offering right here, right now. You're a friend. If anybody contacts anybody out there, first responder, military, and says, "Hey, I want to get in contact with George," we'll give you my contact information,
for sure.
and I'll tell you, hey man, what have you done? Then do this. But I will tell you this: if I start talking to you or working with you, and I put you on that 2-week plan, and I come back and circle back to you in 2 weeks, and I asked you, have you done X, Y, Z, and you haven't, I'm done.
You're a wantrepreneur.
You're a wantrepreneur.
Not an entrepreneur.
You're not an entrepreneur. You want it. You think it's a good concept, but you haven't sacrificed enough. And I can tell you this: I've sacrificed. To be here. Truly sacrificed. The analogy that I try to give: I left the department with 20 years on, which is about 45%, and it's the analogy of the army. They sail onto the shore, right, and all the warriors get out and they're getting ready to lay siege to the castle. And as they look behind them, all their ships are on fire. Everything's on fire. All their supplies, everything, water, it's all burnt. And it's the king who went by and burned everything. And he said, "There's food, there's water, there's supplies, but it's all there." And that's kind of where I'm at now. And there's nothing behind me. It's all burned. And everything, all the success is in front of me. And if you're willing to take that journey, then that's what it is.
Cool.
Yep.
Well, awesome. I really appreciate you coming out, man. We talked about a lot of great stuff, a lot of good content, good info. Thank you for coming out.
Absolutely, man. I loved it.
Great. It's been great. Well, if you guys have any questions for George, shoot me a DM or a text or him, and you can check him out on Instagram, Viciously Loyal. I'm sure it'll pop right up. And if you guys want to check out his website, what's your website?
It's viciouslyloyal.com.
That's the one that he bought.
Yep,
for
that's the
$20.
one I bought. I bought it for it was low price. Oh, and if you're going to buy a domain name, don't keep searching it. Think about it, look at it, and buy it. Because somebody will snatch it from you if they see it searched too much.
Oh, that's a good. I didn't even know that.
Absolutely.
Well, so mine is Alamo Homes.
Yeah.
And I was surprised that no one had bought that.
Absolutely. It's funny, right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you have a concept, go search your domain name and buy it. Buy it immediately.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching this show. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions about the clothing industry, Viciously Loyal, George, what size shirt he wears, if you want to see his abs.
I'm actually 50. And
yeah.
Yeah.
God, he's old enough to be my dad.
Oh, that's crap.
I brought that out.
Damn. That's all right.
If you guys have any questions at all, let us know, and we'll take care of you and make sure we can get you the information you need. Thanks again.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.